The Bret Hart Seth Rollins beef continues, ladies and gentlemen. Hi guys, welcome to another edition of General Jerry channel. And if you like WWE news, backstage news, if you like videos like this, make sure to take that time to subscribe and like the video. It would be much appreciated. For anyone who doesn't know, Bret Hart has been calling out Seth Rollins for a while now. We thought that things may have died down. Maybe, Seth and Bret, maybe they talk privately to sort out this kind of beef that Bret's been doing. However, ladies and gentlemen, it is continuing. This comes courtesy of RingsideSeats.com. Bret Hart continues to criticize Seth Rollins. Bret the Hitman Hart recently did an interview. During the interview, Bret continued to take aim at Seth Rollins for injuries on Big John Cena and Sting when they suffered matches against him. Here are a couple of highlights from the interview. Seth Rollins breaking John Cena's nose. He said Rollins needs him to the face so hard, so reckless and so dangerous. He could easily kill somebody with a knee like that to the face. It's a testimony to John Cena. I mean, we all know Bret's a massive Cena mark, but we will continue. He finished the match, and he finished the match, and B, he didn't get a shotgun and shoot Seth Rollins when he went through the curtain. I want to repeat that again. That John Cena didn't get a shotgun and shoot Seth Rollins when he came through the curtain. Now, personally, for me, that's a little bit extreme, in my personal opinion. First of all, accidents happen, alright? Seth Rollins, the only two incidences was the John Cena situation and the Sting situation, which we're going to get into in a second. Personally, for me, I think Bret is a little bit out of line here. I think Bret has a habit of doing this, which I don't fully agree with, in my personal opinion. Bret's no stranger to controversy. He's called out wrestlers before. Shit like that, but in my personal opinion, I feel as if, this whole thing between him and Seth Rollins, I don't know, is it trying to get Bret in the news more, or whatever, I don't know, but in my personal opinion, I think it's petty. John Cena clearly has no beef with Seth Rollins. I'm sure Seth Rollins apologized. If you even go to Sting, Seth Rollins was absolutely was emotional when that situation with Sting happened. He even went with him to the ambulance van and stuff like that. So for Bret to kind of make it out look like Seth did a lot of bad stuff, and you have to bear in mind this stuff happened like last year. People have already forgotten about it. It's already been forgiven and forgot about. And personally, for me, I don't know why Bret is doing this constantly. In my personal opinion, I don't know why he keeps talking about this. In my personal opinion, I feel Bret needs to talk to Seth Rollins one-on-one. That's just my personal opinion, rather than going on these dirt sheets and talking shit. I don't know what Bret's looking to get out of this, but we'll get back into what Bret was saying. Seth Rollins possibly ending Sting's career faster. He did things to that guy that kind of ended his career a lot faster. It wasn't necessarily Seth Rollins' fault. Yes, obviously, the kind of in-ring style, the Seth Rollins, especially when Seth Rollins is on a pay-per-view, it's a lot more harder and faster and stuff. But you don't see Bret Hart criticizing Brock Lesnar when he punched John Cena. A lot of you remember that. And guess what? That invoked more emotion into the story, essentially. What was an accident, essentially, invoked more emotion for the story. Same applies for the Seth Rollins-John Cena thing. Prior to that happening, nobody gave a shit. But it wasn't until Seth Rollins, which made a mistake when he kneed John Cena in the face, then people were going crazy. People were like, God damn it, this is great. This is crazy. Now we have a centerpiece for the story. And what happened was in WWE, I'll give them a credit where credit is due. They used a bad situation and turned it into a positive. Alright? As for Sting, my issue was Sting should not have been in the ring with Seth Rollins. He should have fought Taker at WrestleMania. He shouldn't have competed against Seth Rollins. Because Seth Rollins' the technique and the method, the way he goes in the ring is very similar, is very different, should I say, from what Sting does. So to criticize Seth Rollins for his in-ring work or whatever, obviously Sting was, if you actually look at the tape, it wasn't really necessarily Seth Rollins' fault. Sting was very gassed out. He was out of breath, shit like that, because in my personal opinion, he shouldn't have been in the ring with Seth Rollins. What they should have done is just have Sting versus Taker. They should have choreographed it and shit like that. That's what they should have done. They should have took a time with the feud. But rather than that, then they put Sting immediately in with Seth Rollins, and it didn't work out. And I don't know. That was a very missed opportunity by WWE, in my personal opinion. So you can't blame Seth Rollins. Obviously, Sting was very out of breath. The first minutes in that match, I was very worried about him at the start. It wasn't his fault. Sting has even said he hasn't come out and said Seth Rollins is ending my career or anything like that. He even said in his speech that Seth Rollins was very concerned about him in his Hall of Fame speech. So I don't know what Bret's getting at. Let's get back into some of the stuff that he said. How good wrestlers don't injure their opponents. The best wrestlers don't injure anyone for real. I wrestled 23 straight years over the world. My biggest boast is I never wrestled one single wrestler. I never wrestled one single wrestler in my career. The safety of my opponent was critical to me. Here's the thing, Bret. You have to bear in mind things in WWE are very different with, and I don't agree with it in most cases with the flips and the kicks, but the wrestling compared to before is a lot more spot fest and stuff. But when it comes to pay-per-views, they like to get properly into the combat standpoint, although they're kind of steering away from that now, which I don't particularly like in my personal opinion. But like I said, I don't know what Bret's going on about this, because this shit happened ages ago, and I don't know why Bret's coming out and fucking talking smack against Seth Rollins. He then said things about Shane and Stephanie. He said Shane and Stephanie don't understand sports injuries. They don't understand that when you do these kind of things, you can literally kill someone. It may look great, but you really need to think twice with what you are doing. I will agree with Bret on this. I will say this. I believe last year, or a few months ago, before WrestleMania, a lot of months ago, WWE were riddled with injuries. I do believe that they were going a little bit too mad. I don't know whether it was the training that these guys were doing or whatever. You have to bear in mind as well, you don't hear him say anything about Seth Rollins when Seth Rollins got injured. Seth Rollins took a risk. I remember he was in Dublin. He hurt his leg or whatever. So, honestly, I don't know what Bret's looking to achieve out of this, to be honest. In my personal opinion, I think it's petty. In my personal opinion, I think it's very petty. And I think Bret should just drop this and just fucking let it go. He needs to do what that Frozen song, let it go, Bret has sour grapes. In my personal opinion, that's what I think. Bret needs to let it go. Like I said, I don't know why Bret's doing this. This shit happened ages ago. The Sting thing has been forgotten about. The John Cena situation has been forgotten about, with the knee. And also that even added to the story as well. So, and also for Bret to go around and say, and also say that John Cena didn't get a shotgun and shoot Seth Rollins, kind of almost threatening Seth Rollins. It's kind of very disappointing, to be honest with you, and I don't know what Bret's doing. And I have massive respect for Bret Hart, really do. I think he was a fantastic wrestler, definitely one of the greats, but I have to put into question as to what he's doing publicly, in certain sometimes, most of the time he's spot on. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of things that Bret Hart says that he's spot on with. However, I don't understand why Bret's going. It's just the moral of the story of this, ladies and gentlemen, is that this shit had happened ages ago. It's already been forgotten about, so I don't know why Bret's bringing this up all the time, and shit like that. So, I don't know what the beef is between him and Seth Rollins. It could be stuff that has happened maybe in the past that we don't know about. It hasn't come public again. Bret does like to hold grudges against people. We've seen that. So we'll have to wait and see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. But let me know what you think in the comments below. In my personal opinion, I feel Bret just needs to drop this right now. He really needs to drop this, again, just in my personal opinion. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. This is General Jerry on the General Jerry channel. Signing out.